So I was paint pouring pumpkins for the first time and got some cool colors. I did some pink ones for Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. And then I sprayed the top in gold paint, spray paint, and then sealed them all with a spray glaze, a clear coat. It was fun. Paint pour on these pumpkins. I did a couple of pink ones for breast cancer awareness earlier this week, and now I'm going to do one that's red, white, and blue in honor of our university colors at University of South Alabama. We're red, white, and blue, so I'm going to do that one really quick. I don't know how much of this video I'm going to use, so just going to video and I can edit it down. So right now I'm putting in, I use a lot of white, so I get a big bottle of white paint. So, you always put stuff around to catch the paint if you don't want it to ruin your floors or the stuff that you're painting around, because you never know when you're going to drip some on your clothes or on the floor or on the furniture. So, also I wear surgical type gloves that are good for cleaning, and put those on when I'm starting this process too. So it's about to put those gloves on time is what this is. So you have to put in something to make it pourable. And so I buy a big bottle of this from Lowe's for like $7 versus going into the hobby store. And in the hobby store, you have to sit there and spend a lot of money for just to have a little pourable medium, a little tiny bottle. So that's something that I learned out there, and it's been a great tip for me that I use all the time for my paint pouring. I paint pour rocks. This is the first, and I do Christmas ornaments, and this is the first year I've done pumpkins, and I've had fun with it. I like it. So that's about how much blue paint that I've got in there. And the same for the red. I have a lot more white, so I'm not going to pour it toward you. So I just pour in a little bit. It's just kind of like, you have to just eye it. And then you also put some in to the white paint. Then I use popsicle sticks. Get those from the craft store. Big old package for not much money. You don't have any certain time limit to stir it, just till you know it's been mixed good. And then you have one more cup that you're going to pour all your paint in, and that's what you're going to do when you do your paint pour. So that's the consistency of it. And what I've done through the years of paint pouring ornaments or rocks, I always have a little tray down at the bottom with some little smaller rocks, so that I can, you know, use some of the paint that pours down there, catch it and use it. And for drying the rocks, I use this little type tray that I put them on. Guess what those are? Those are for when a cat gets in your garden. It's to, you buy a big package, not much on Amazon, but they're to keep cats out of our garden, but it works perfect for paint drying rocks. So I've been loving that. Also, gosh, I learned all these little tips out there. All right, so now you take a cup, and now I usually always start with the white first. Pour a little bit of the white in. Pour some of the blue in. Pour in some of the red. Pour some more white. Some more blue. And then you just have like a cup full of paint. And I hope this catches what I'm about to do here. So like I say, I try to put a little tray underneath to catch some extra paint. So these are just plastic, they're not real. They're just little plastic. Oh, I love them. This is why you wear gloves. That's the leftover. And you try not to mix it too much because then you're just going to get gray paint if you start mixing them and not let the paint pour catch up with it. And this is another rock. That was in there. Alright, so I noticed that, so I'm going to just scoop this paint back up out of this bag and we're going to run through again. Because you can kind of turn this to see that it didn't get everything. If you go too fast, you have to kind of go slow again. Because this pumpkin seems to have the deep grooves in it, and so you have to be really careful when you're pouring. Because it doesn't seem to do as easy as a flat rock does. It's one thing about the pumpkins. Just gonna scoop this up and put some more white paint in because I seem to have lost my white. Just seems to not be in there as much. And don't worry about touching the stem and wondering what's going to happen, because at the very end, one of the last things I do is I spray paint the stem silver or gold, depending on what goes better with the paint pour. So now I'm going to take some more of this paint, and you can still see in little curves where it didn't really get, you can see more orange. And what I stuck these on, this is like a little fondue stick into a foam board. That's what I have these on. And so I still have some rocks with the runoff that I'm putting over here. Okay, I've got my colors mixed up now, which is, let's see if you can see that without me spilling it. It's gray, gold, and white to match her decor. I'm gonna stand up, I can get to this pumpkin behind. This one doesn't have as deep as grooves on it as the other one, so it seems like it's going to be a little bit easier to paint pour on and get the effect I want. And I still have these rocks down here. I'm going to catch the leftovers so we don't waste paint. And I just keep turning it. Don't spread it because then the paint pouring lines will be gone. Okay. Now my popsicle stick to smooth over some of the orange that's still showing. And then go underneath. This one's a little flatter at the bottom, so you have to kind of go underneath to spread the paint with your popsicle stick. You kind of have a little bit of more white than I wanted. I wanted more gray and gold. I should have used less white than I did. You just kind of find this out as you go. There's no rhyme or reason. So what I'm going to do because of that is I'm going to pour again over some of the white areas. Hopefully that'll give me a little bit more gold, a little bit more gray. Try not to be so concerned with the rocks down at the bottom and what they're catching, because that's just, you know, a bonus. Your main thing you're trying to do is the project up here on the stick. So down here, it'll get to it when the time comes. Not a big deal. So I'm out of the gray. I'm gonna put just a tad of white in with the gold that's left over, and see what I can do with some of those areas. I had to do it all over again. I would have put definitely more gray, but hopefully this will still turn out pretty for her decorations. Because at Thanksgiving, she uses a lot of the white plates with the gold trim, like my grandmother. Passed down some of the dishes to her and gave them to her. And so the white and gold, as long as that shows up, it'll be something she can keep out at Thanksgiving too. So I should not be so concerned about the fact there's not enough on there, because it's probably just right.